Hello students, this is a class for BA part second, third English literature, and we are continuing with Animal Farm. Today the aspect that we take is Battle of Windmill. We have already talked about Battle of Cowshed and how the rebellion took place. Now the most important question, you can say, or the most important stage in Animal Farm is that of the Battle of Windmill, which we should discuss. The Battle of Windmill is an interesting event of Animal Farm, a short fable. It's a novelty written by George Orwell. In this novel, George Orwell successfully unifies his political thought and artistic purpose. And you all know the book is actually an attack on Russia and the Russian Revolution. The novel begins with a sudden urge for revolt against man's tyranny by animals in a farm. Old Major, a senior Boer, becomes the prophet of the revolution by animals to overthrow man's tyranny. The experiment is quite successful, and the animals on the farm of Mr. Jones drive out their master. They take over the administration of the farm, which is now changed into Animal Farm. The pigs are its leaders, being more clever than other animals. To our surprise, Napoleon turns out Snowball and another rival pig from the farm by force and becomes the sole leader of the farm. From then onwards, the farm was managed and administered chiefly by Napoleon's orders. Animals built a windmill bearing all the burnt, but for the equipment of machines they needed money. A pile of timber was lying waste, and Napoleon decided to sell it. After much discussion and very maneuvers between Animal Farm and the neighboring farms, the pile of timber was sold to Mr. Frederick, which belonged to Foxwood, a nearby farm. But 3 days later, it was found out that the notes which Mr. Frederick gave them were forgeries. An attack on Animal Farm followed the next morning, as it had been anticipated by Napoleon. Mr. Frederick was with a dozen of men having guns, and he reached there and fired upon the animals. Frightened animals retreated into the farmhouse. Many animals were injured. The windmill was completely surrounded by men. Its foundations were filled with blasting powder, and within few minutes it was destroyed with a tremendous explosion. The animals who had been frightened and who had lost their courage were then recharged by the wildest anger to see the ruin of the mighty last sign of their hard labor. Without paying any attention to the cruel pellets of men, they dashed upon men in a body, in union. There was a great battle. Almost all the animals were injured. At that time, Napoleon, who was commanding the charge, made a strategy and sent his retinue of dogs to attack upon men from behind. The enemy was surrounded then by the 9 fierce looking dogs and other animals. The men could not escape the terror and panic and lost their courage because of this attack. Frightened completely, they took to their heels. Animals chased them up to the main road and kicked them till last. And in this manner, the attack upon animal farm was thwarted. Afterwards, they gathered in the big barn. Some animals were killed, and almost all of them were injured, so they were very sad. Moreover, they were dismayed, they were disappointed to see the destroyed windmill, the fruit of their hard labor for almost a year. But viewing the green banner hoisting in the air, and listening to the firing of guns and singing Beasts of England, they forgot their misery and sorrow, and they started celebrations of victory. It was called the Battle of Windmill, and Napoleon, their leader, was conferred upon with a decoration, the Order of Green Banner. This is all about the Battle of Windmill, and thank you very much.